Right, something a bit bigger now. So we're not at the bench, because these are a bit big to carry over there and lift on there. That's where I've got my chain hoist in. But this is going to be a big project. Probably going to be over several parts this, but the first stage, as I alluded to in the last video, was I need to borrow a bigger machine to start off. So I've been back to my old employer, very kindly let me use the planer to start these off. As I'll explain, but I wanted some good faces to start with, and then I can measure from to get all my details correct. But I'll walk you through, explain what they are. We'll have a look at the castings. There's 4 big castings to do. We'll have a look at them, and yeah, and I'll show you how we're doing really. A lot of this machining can be done here. Just about. I mean, I wanted to do these. They're a bit big for these machines really, but I did want to do these. I thought it was a really nice project. So we're going to make the most of what we've got and borrow what we haven't got. So, but yeah, we'll have a look at the castings. They're all laid out over there. So let's have a look, and then we'll get planing them down. So here they are, 4 new castings. I'll pull them off the pallet and we'll have a look at them properly. But they are 2 axle boxes and 2 horn blocks for a Fowler road loco. Yeah, brand new castings, which is lovely. I'm looking forward to doing them. But I'm going to have to think about what process we do them all in. And this is why I need to borrow a bigger machine. Whilst a lot of the details on these are what I would call local details, you know, the bores and facing and overturning of all this can all be done on the Kearns borer. Same at this end. You know, even though the overall component is too big theoretically for the machine, I can do a lot of the details on the machine. They're well within the scope. But I do need to borrow a bigger machine to start off with, and I'll go through that, and you'll see that as well. But yeah, I'll get them off the pallet, and we'll have a look through them and look at the drawing, and show you what I've got to do. Right, so here's a bit of a clearer view. The castings. This is the horn block. These mount vertically on the frame. So this is the top. That ends the bottom. This is the axle box. Third motion shaft goes through here. Your main axle through the back wheels goes through there. And these faces here are going to slide in these horn guides. And as the suspension moves, these are obviously tied together, which keeps the gears in mesh. And it allows you to have a bit more suspension travel because there's no worry about the gears coming out of mesh. To get a datum, I want a datum in each dimension, really, in the 3 dimensions. Sometimes on the drawings you get a datum that's an imaginary datum. So it could be like the centre line, for example, which is what I will sort of work to. A lot of the details are symmetrical about this centre line. So the horn faces are symmetrical about it, these mounting ears, all the bolt holes are also symmetrical about this. But of course, you can't really measure from an imaginary line. So I'm going to skim the outside edges before I do these faces. And they're going to be because I can measure from those faces. This should be 12 inches across all the way down. It's already slightly under, but I'm going to plane these sides to minimal cleanup. I've looked down them and they're pretty good. So I don't think I'll have to take too much off. But they're in fresh air, those faces. They're not critical dimension. So whilst it would have been nice to get them bang on 12, it would have made my maths a bit easier. They're going to clean up what they clean up as. And then my centre line, I'm just going to choose it as halfway between those faces, unless anything drastic happens. But that's going to be easier because I only have to remember one number then, my centre line, regardless of whether I'm working from that face, working from that face. But that face obviously goes the whole length of the casting. So when I set up on the borer to do my local details, as I call them, I always measure from the same face, and it's consistent no matter where I have it bolted to the machine. I know that the centre line is always going to be the same height from the table. So that's what I'm going to have to do. That's the sort of compromise of using, you know, my small machines to machine these castings. But that's what I'm going to have to do. I'm going to plane those. These ends are probably going to face those after. I'm probably going to do all my planing first, and I'll face these to length when I bring the castings back here. But again, if I face there is material on these ends. If I face both these off to get to the drawing figure, I can actually measure from both ends then when I'm doing my local details to find the centre line for the axle in this direction, and the same for the third motion. I can measure that one from this end, I can measure that one from that end. And that, you know, okay, measuring that distance, I might be a thou or two out, but it's more than accurate enough for these things. The horn faces themselves, I'm going to do in the plane. Once I've set it up, do these sides, I'll do these on the same setup. Thankfully, there's all these holes down the middle, so I can put my clamps in there and they're out of the way. I can go down the sides in here without disturbing any clamps or having to move any. So that's that way. This way, my ends, I'll do them afterwards. Whilst I've got it on the planer, I'll probably do these back faces. So this is where it bolts to the chassis frames. You've got mounting bolts go through here. But I can skim, strip down each side of those to start off with. Even if I leave material on them, if I'm at least then if I plane them, I can sit it on parallels or on blocks to get to the side. We know that both sides are parallel. And with these then I can start measuring the height of these bosses and get all and these bosses here. And get all those to size. So there's quite a bit of thinking about to plane them. These boxes to do the planing is not so bad. I'm just going to clean up these faces. Again, I'll measure to get it equal. So we've got the same amount on both sides, but yeah, they're going to be fairly straightforward. But I'll probably plane these first actually. It'll give the plane a chance to warm up, because when the oil's cold on it, it sometimes likes to over travel. So it saves me, these ones are going to be fun, you see, because they go up against these shoulders, these brackets. I don't want the machine to crash into there. So I'll probably do these first. There's a bit less thinking in planing these, so I'll get my head in the zone with these ones. And then obviously I'll plane those to the size, and then plane these so that those will drop in. And that's what I aim to do at planer first. And then I'll bring them back here and we'll start, you know, doing milling and boring and turning and everything else that needs doing, drilling, tapping. There's all sorts. There's some square holes in here to go in. So yeah, there's going to be lots of setups on my little machines. But yeah, I'm looking forward to doing them. First thing is to cut off this redundant bit of the left-hand axle box. Makes it lighter, but it also just is a easy visual indicator of which one's left and right. They should be the same at this stage certainly, but just makes it easier for me. Well, the first thing I decided to do was to rough plane this face you can see here. So on the drawing you can see there's an offset between these two faces of 3/8 of an inch, as you can see there. So if I put the straight edge up you can clearly see that offset. So to set up to plane that first face, I measured from the edge of the table to those faces just with a rule to get that 3/8 offset. And I'm just using the benefit of a one long straight edge the side of the table to make sure the casting set up. The face is only 9-inch diameter or thereabouts, but if I plane that and bolt down to it, I then know that that 3/8 offset is going to be there. As I say, it's just a rough planing to start off with. I think I was on about a 60 thou step over, but it just gives a really good face to clamp down to. It's nice and solid. The casting's not going to rock about on the table there. I just used some machinist jacks under the other end once I'd set it up to get it level, as you can see them under here. Now I measured the eye section off the side of the table there as well to get that parallel to the table edge, because I want that to be running parallel when it's finished. And that eye section is 3.5 inches wide, so I measured from it to do these first faces you can see here. So it'll be 3 inches, just with a rule to get the first one. I just want to make it as symmetrical as I can really, because say that eye section is unmachined. And this is how I measured the offset between the small end at the top. I used an internal mic against the column of the machine, and this nice machined flat square scraped surface which I can use as a reference point. So I measured to the bottom end once I'd done that, and then I measured to this, and you can see I've written in chalk on the oil pot there 6.127 was the calculated figure for an offset of 1 inch and 7/8. And there we are, I'm half a thou over. There's a change of plan here for planing the second side. I flip the castings over, as you can see. And there's the first side finished. Use my DTI to get my final cut sizes. You can see a feed ratcheting across, and this one I can actually measure just with a normal mic across the two faces. I've got enough room. And here we're onto the horn blocks now. So the first one set up. You can see all my clamps down the middle. Machinist jacks to level it up again, the corners. I'm not taking massively heavy cuts, so now this is just to show you, watch the casting drop away from the tool. The tool's actually running level, but you see the casting tapers down. Now this was a bit of a head scratch and lots of measuring. You can see here on the drawing, shows 7/8 there, taper, down to 5/8. Now this is all on that front face that's facing upwards on the planer. If I move the straight edge, you can see that back face where it bolts to the frames is straight, and that's my vertical line. All my measurements are going to be done from that. Now that is a machined feature. The top side, as you can see on here, is not a machined feature, so that's the one I've measured off the table. Now I'm just setting the stroke here so it doesn't crash into those brackets. I do it with the tool well clear so I can see, and then I'll lower it down like that. You can see it misses. And I'm just going to take a light skim off the top of these horns so that when I flip them over, I know that I'm going to have a parallel face on the other side, because these horns can sit on parallels on the table. And then any plain features on this side, like the actual running horn faces, will be parallel to the back side, which is going to bolt to the frames. It'll all become clear in time. And here we are, roughing out the first of the horn faces. But we very quickly run into an issue, which we'll see in a second. I'll have to finish them off on the borer, but I can get the majority of each face to the proper size on the planer. Here we are. I can't get to the bottom because the tool is going to hit these bosses. Now these are going to be mounting bosses where bolts go through. But you can see the tool is pretty much touching that, and I've still got a way to go yet. So I say they'll have to be finished on the borer afterwards with an end mill, I should think. Now a lot of these clips have got absolutely terrible workshop radio in the background, so I've had to drop the audio on them, so you just have to listen to me talk instead, I'm afraid. But I tell you, it's better than what's on that radio. And similar to how I did the Axleboxes to measure the offset, I used the column again, but this time I'm using a depth mic off the horn face onto the column there. And then once I've calculated my offset figure for the top horns, I can start machining those. And you can see clearance was a bit of an issue doing these, but tool just about fits down there, clears the clamps so we can get that machined out, and then measure off the column for this one as well, exactly the same manner. And here's the machine I've been using. It's a Butler open side hydraulic planer, 8 foot by 3 foot table, 3 foot height, capacity as well. Made in Halifax in the early 50s, so just up the road from my workshop. Right, finally back in my shop with them now. Took a bit longer than anticipated. Took about 4 days really, planing, which sounds ridiculous, but I've removed a fair amount of material. But on these axle boxes, there's actually ended up being sort of 8 horn faces, 2 here, 2 on the other side, 2 here, 2 on the other side, and they're all dimensioned and critical. They have to be in line with each other. They're all measured. So you know, 8 horn faces on each of those. So there's 2 of them to do 60, and then there's the 4 horn faces in there. You can see these ones haven't quite been finished to depth, as you saw, because I had the clearance issues, so they're going to have to be finished. I also didn't skim both sides of the horns. I only skimmed one, which is on the other side on this one. It was just a time factor, really. I thought I can get away with just measuring everything from one side. Arguably better if you measure from one side all the time. So I'm going to get these on the machine. One of the first things I'm going to do on these is do these ends. And then I've got my datum on those faces as well. And these, one of the first things is like roughing these boards out. There's quite a lot of material in these boards to come face this off. But yeah, when I set these up, in the end I sort of didn't explain before, but I probably should have done. One of the best ways to clock things like this up is to clock up to start with, to start your castings. So clock up off the unmachined features. So any features like this eye section in the middle, I'm not going to be machining. I'll try and get that running as true as I can, or if it doesn't need to run true, like you can see, you might be able to see this is at a bit of an angle. Get it running at that angle, set the machine up. As I set it up on the machine like that. And that's what I've done. So I started off, as you saw, this offset on these faces. I measured that first and I set them up from there, and that's how I've done them. But yeah, I'm going to get them on the machines now and start boring out. There's lots to do still, lots to do. It's only the start really, so yeah, but this is I'll get that on the next few videos. I'll probably maybe do a video on these and another on them. I also couldn't machine these all in one setup as I originally hoped. I originally intended on sitting them like that on the planer, planing both sides in one setting. I couldn't do that. I had to plane one side first, all 4 faces on one side, and then I had to flip them over like that. But then I could measure that down to the table. Because they were so tall, I couldn't reach down the other side with the planer. The tools had to be quite long. There was just so much deflection. It would have taken me forever. So it was quicker, even with an extra setup, to flip them, say, and clamp that down onto the table. And I can really take some heavy cuts when you're pushing down, because there was a fair bit of material to come off them. And then the same here, I can mic across there. I can measure it off the table to get my offset. There's an inch and 7/8 offset on each side. So I had an 1 7/8 parallel underneath, clamped down, and then I could measure across with a mic on that one. But that one I did with a depth gauge off there. And that gave me my figures, measurements there. Yeah, so it wasn't quite as anticipated that. And I was hoping to get, say, more of that done in one setting as well. But with the clearance issues, it proved a bit troublesome. But so also the back, when I said about this other side, on the back here where they bolt to the frames, you won't be able to see, but I'll show you closer up. But I couldn't get that on the planer really. I'm going to have to do that on the milling machine, most of that, and the borer. But it's just a shame because there's quite a lot of material to come off there. But because it went round that boss and up to this boss, you couldn't get into the corners of the planer. The planer only goes in straight lines. So yeah, it's a shame about that, but hey ho. So all planing's done. I know there's not been a lot of machining on this video compared to others, but gives you an idea of what's to come. So there's a lot to do on these, so that'll be the next few videos.